Hello, my beautiful ladies, and if you found this video today, it is definitely not by accident. The universe, the algorithm, whatever energy is at play really wanted you to find this to step into your most divine, centered, and entrepreneurial spirit. And what I mean by entrepreneurial, you don't need to own a business, but as a creator, as a divine, feminine, forceful energy that you are, and as a force to be reckoned with in whatever you decide to use that energy to conquer. I am here to remind you that the world truly needs what you feel that you need to offer, what you truly feel that you need to give energy to, what you've been avoiding to do due to fear, doubt, or any toxic culture that has been festered into your brain. I want you to dump that. I want you to reimagine opportunity for yourself. I want to also remind you, every single deck that has been dealt to every woman has a position of advantage. I want you to take yourself out of every limiting thought that the culture, that society, that your parents, that your surroundings, that you yourself have embedded in your brain to put yourself in a victim and a very lack mentality, and thus a very lacking reality. Your desires are your highest self calling you to that present reality, and I'm here to remind you that your position is valid and your success is inevitable. So if you feel like you want to do that thing, do it. You're going to do it anyway. I want you to choose happiness as your foundation. Your happiness. Not your significant other, not your friends, not your coworkers, not your family, your innate happiness. And you're only going to understand that by doing the inner work within yourself to understand yourself. That is where true confidence breeds, sprouts, and becomes a force to be reckoned with. I want you to rewire your brain to understand success, love, and joy mean absolutely nothing if it comes at the cost of your happiness. I was very fortunate to go to a very successful 4-year university and graduate with a job at one of the top companies in the world 2 months before graduating, contract signed. And I was only able to live and cohabitate in that space for no longer than 2.5 to 3 years, because that job and that success was at the cost of my happiness. It didn't feed my innate need to give, to present myself how I do now. And I was living in dogma. I was living a life that was not mine. I was living a success and a happiness that was not embedded within my own innate need, and convincing myself every day that something was wrong with me, only because everyone was shouting from the rooftops, "You're doing so great, this is an amazing achievement," and me, throughout nights, throughout days, throughout months and years of persevering through, trying to convince myself, I'm crazy for feeling this way. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. You are not. I want you to hear to that inner voice, no matter what anyone is telling you, no matter what society or culture is feeding you to believe that you may be at that mountaintop. It is not your mountaintop. And it is never too late to reimagine what the top of that mountain looks like, how you feel at the top of that mountain. I want you to really, really hone into the energies that you are feeding and the voice inside your head telling you something is not aligned to you, and listen. For the first time in your life, truly listen. The amount of times I've been in relationships, jobs, and situations where genuinely I can't go to sleep at night because the little voice in my head is telling me, when are you going to choose yourself first? Stop. Tomorrow, do this. Tomorrow, quit. And the other voice of my head telling me, it's fear. You need to persevere through. Everyone endures this. Normalizing my intuition telling me something and normalizing my fear of starting over and everyone else's approval to take over and to conquer that innate feeling and that innate intuition. That's the voice you need to listen. I don't care if you don't know why. It's so funny because as women, we always want to know why. We feel something and we gaslight ourselves to believe that we're wrong because we haven't truly seen that person's a bad person, that building's on fire. That job is ultimately going to put you into a very depressive episode or going to disalign you. I want you to take away the need to want to know how or why. If you feel it, if a little voice in your head is telling you no, stop everything and listen to it. I want you to really stop everything and listen to it, because you don't need to know why that guy is not aligned for you. If you feel it, remove yourself. Remove yourself from that situation. If you're going into a burning building and you have a feeling I should not go into that building and you don't see the fire, you shouldn't need to see the fire to walk out. Walk out. But we don't hear enough on how we ourselves gaslight our own intuition and our own inner guidance. And I'm here to tell you that it's okay to listen to yourself. I'm here to remind you that you are smart enough. I'm here to remind you that your intuition is aligned enough and you know enough to know what's best for yourself. Leading your business, your family, and your reality with intuition, collaboration, and emotional intelligence, and recognizing that this is the leading cause to creation is going to liberate you. And I want you to understand that this doesn't just exist in the feminine world, it is crucial for the male experience. And I want you to know that this is exactly why men are so selective with the women that they put into their lives. And this is why they want that feminine girl. This is because leadership is not about force. It is about influence. It is about vision. And it is about presence. And the leading presence that embodies that is the female archetype. And men know this. And this is why men select their women so crucially. Especially a man that is trying to build, that is empowered to build, and has a calling to build. He wants someone that has such a high intuitive standpoint that they can walk into a room, not understand the conversation, not need to understand the conversation, to understand how that particular person's energy flows. We have seen this in so many ways throughout history. You see a man at a poker table and you see a beautiful woman whispering at his ear, telling him what she intuitively feels about another man or another woman at that table and their set of cards. Their life, how they view you, their intentions towards you. Just like that poker table, I want you to warp that into life, because that's exactly how it is. A man that is achieving something beautiful, sacred, and abundant wants a woman to lead in that vision energetically and intuitively. And don't get me wrong, this woman can choose not to have a company, a business for herself, but she is so aligned to her feminine energy that her purpose is to build with that man. Not for that man, with that man. And just like that reality exists, there's a second reality in which we see so many times today, where it's a beautiful, powerhouse, amazing woman that is building her own empire inside of a man doing the same. But you see her with her man, and she is aligned to her femininity. She is in tune to his energy just as she is in tune to her. And she knows when to give and nurture him just as she knows when to choose herself. And I want you to really understand that once you understand that femininity is influence, vision, and presence, the way you see relationships and the way you see men positioning themselves in your life, especially high achieving men, is going to change. Just as the way you feel that you need to serve them. That is not about giving them gifts. It's not about being overly available. It's not about being constantly at their beck and call and on the phone once they call. It's about knowing when to be at the right place at the right time. And when you're aligned divinely, You just naturally are going to be there. When we think of entrepreneurs, most times as women, we think of men. Men waking up early, putting themselves first day after day, either for the needs of their family or for the needs of their innate to create and build an empire. I want you to be able to build what that looks like for yourself, to have the anatomy and the ability to see yourself as a woman and as a creator, to build whatever framework you need to get what you desire to happen. I'm here to remind you that as a woman, you have an advantage to have the autonomy and the skill of multitasking that a man does not. I want you to simply embrace the ability that you can truly create a family, build a business, nurture friendships, and feed and sprout yourself without feeling guilty for neglecting anything. Every day you may choose one thing. Every week you may choose 2 or 3 things. But when you take yourself back and look things at a very macro perspective, in a year, 2, 5-year perspective, I guarantee you that is going to summate in proudness in the amount that you have truly given to your friendships, your family, and your business. One day you may feel like you neglected your children's because you chose to show up for your business aside of your family. And I want you to understand that that's okay. That's okay that one day you decided to show up for your health and turn off everything on your calendar because you needed to give to yourself that day. Just as we're able to multitask, I want you to be able to say the word no. Not today. And have the perspective that you can multitask. And just because it was one day on the macro of things, it's not going to look like that. Because you're going to have so many beautiful days that you showed up for your friends, for your family, for your kids, for your business. And that's who you are. Not the single day. Not the single decision, and not that single priority that you had for that moment and that day. Really realign your brain to not think in such a limiting perspective. And I think sometimes society and the culture of men in the workforce really derail our ability to create because we innately believe that we don't have what it takes to do what they do because we don't do it how they do it. Multitask. I don't care what school of learning or course you're taking telling you to prioritize one thing at a time. Yes, there is power in truly focusing and funneling into one thought and one idea at a time, but that is sprouted into the mind of a man. Every day, remind yourself that your ambition and your desires are not to be strained. If your desire is to be a wife, to be an entrepreneur, to create, to show up in whatever capacity that you innately feel in your heart, do it. And I don't want you to negotiate or give the power to any man to negotiate anything less than what you truly desire in life. The amount of times I have heard women in relationships or completely married with people telling me how they sat with their significant other and negotiated what they desired based on a man's priority is baffling. It's baffling. Oh, you want 3 kids? I don't think that's fair because, the economy, you should only want 1. Why are you, you want 3 kids? Have 3 kids. The state of the world will always be the state of the world. If you excuse the experience of the outside world, you will never get your inside world into fruition. Because there are always going to be things, situations at play, culture at play, telling you that your desires are not sustainable or achievable. And I don't want you to think in that very limiting and shrinking mentality. I want you to say, yeah, yes, I can have that. And if you don't want that, then we're simply not aligned. Period. It's okay to have a conversation because sometimes people genuinely can't put themselves outside of their limiting belief. And if we're to drop a husband, a partner, or a friend just due to that simple fact, you'll be surrounded with no one. Because no one is wired with the innate need and desires that you do. But if that person, after that conversation, makes you feel like your desires are a problem, a negligence, and not a priority, leave. That's okay if things are not aligned for you. Because an abundant mindset reminds you something out there will. Something out there will be aligned with me. And it's not about being like you, but it's having an understanding and an ability to build with you, given who and what you are and what you innately want. That is all. That is all. It's not having the same taste in music. It's not wanting to travel to so-and-so place together. It's not having the same type of personality or differing ones in which it encompasses a great compatibility match. No. It's truly seeing you and having space for you. On the topic of femininity and multitasking and truly embodying your most honest and truest self, I want to remind you that it's not built alone. Leverage the community. Delegate the things that you need to the people that are around you and want to support you. Just as you want to show up for another person, allow someone to show up for you. And it's so often said in the community of women that we are supposed to be masterful of everything of our day. We are supposed to encompass and create and do everything alone. And I want to tell you that that is not okay. And that hyper independence is only going to lead you to burnout and a lack of creation of your inner vision, because you truly can't do it alone. And I want you to build the resilience to picking up the phone and asking for help. Whether it's as simple, hey, can you bring me a soup because I am so sick right now? And honestly, I want to save money and I want to see you. You don't even have to say that much. Calling a friend and saying, hey, can you bring me by a soup? I'm not feeling well. And I guarantee you that person is going to be so happy, if they're a true friend, to show up for you and that you called and that you thought of them. And they're going to be fulfilled, because every human is fulfilled when showing up for another person that they love and care about. And if you hear buts, ands, ifs from that person, after a continuous exchange of wanting to just have that person show up for you, they are not aligned with you and the best version of you. So I want you to practice each week, even if you don't need it, picking up that phone and asking of something, because it is okay. Just as it is okay to show up for someone continuously, it is okay to ask for help and to allow people to be in your life, to show up for you. It is a beautiful thing. It is a feminine energy to build a community and uphold one. And I want to remind you that, as my beautiful ladies, I want you to know that a community of women is what builds society. It is what keeps the world going round. You can't give birth by yourself. You can't build a business by yourself. You can't uphold your visions and your desires by yourself. And that's okay. You want to be influenced by the women around you and the men around you. You want to be able to be lifted by community and not just stand alone by your truths. Embodying it is becoming it, and becoming it is sprouting into the lives of other people. And that is feminine and divine energy at its highest and at its highest peak. Have you ever seen that one girl in your life or out and about where she genuinely is just running free and it looks like she has not one care in the world? And you envy her because you wish you were that liberated and happy. I want to tell you, you can have that. The only difference between that girl and you is that that girl truly believes in divine timing and moving at her own pace. She trusts that what she needs is going to be there when she needs it. That meal is going to be there. That job is going to be there. That person's going to be there. So she chooses to just enjoy and be happy in the present moment that she can. And isn't it funny that that's the person that always seems to be the luckiest? The one that simply just gets things handed to them. And you see so many bitter people saying, if only I was this person. If only I had this life. Oh, you're only like this because you're pretty. Oh, you're only like this because so-and-so. No, that person is aligned. That person has trust within themselves and the universe at play and is moving at their own divine pace. No rush from society, no rush from the pressure of their parents or their friends or any external validation or ideology of who they should be, but simply who they are. And that is femininity, guys. And it is magnetic. It's aligning you to the right people, the right situations, the right relationships. It is going to align you to the most divine opportunities that you have never even thought were possible, but were designed and needed for you. I want you to rack up that 777 number by being liberated in your truth. If you're stressed over a job, acknowledge the stress. I'm acknowledging that, hey, I really need another job in this facet to catapult me, whatever the trickle down is. But today, my day is focusing on my friend, and it's sunny outside, and I'm healthy, and I'm happy, and I'm tanned. So why not skip across the concrete? Why not truly just be happy being me? And that free-flowing, beautiful energy is going to attract the most beautiful and abundant life that you can possibly think of or cater to yourself through fear and anticipation. And this is why they say the most intelligent people are usually held back in life and usually do the least in life and create the least, only because they are stuck in all the avenues in the way things can go wrong. And that is not a good place to be. It is not an abundant place to be. It is a very limiting place to be. And on top of that, it's draining. It's tiring. And what will that do for you? Take a step back and ask yourself, being aware of how this could go wrong in all the avenues that it can, what would that do for me? Your subconscious is tricking you to believe that acknowledging is subjecting yourself out of the possibility. And I'm here to remind you, it is not. It is taking a mental load and putting you into a negative perspective and a negative outcome that most likely is not going to happen. So instead of putting yourself in that negative space, why not think of all the amazing possibilities that this could offer you? Isn't that more fun? Isn't that more liberating? Isn't that less draining? Less tiring? The last point I want to bring up, I know I touched on it briefly at the beginning of this video, but I want you to truly understand that being a woman and womanhood is not at a disadvantage. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that that narrative is such at the forefront of your brain that right now I guaranteed you're like, huh? What do you mean? Because you have been taught to believe every day that experiencing life as a woman is a limiting experience, that you're only able to do but so much, and you are aligned and you should choose to do but so much. Become a woman, become a mother, become a supporting factor in everyone else's life but your own. I want you to disembody that behavior and mentality and become the all-encompassing woman that I know that you can. I just got chills from that. I truly believe that women are the source and the powerhouse of everything. And even if their names are not under it, best believe this is what they say. Behind every truly successful man, there is a woman right next to him. I got chills again. Dude. And this is not to take away the disparities that we have been built around, the wage gap, the lack of acknowledgement of a woman's potential, liberties, awareness, and intelligence. I am not taking away through any of those hardships that we in day-to-day have to experience. But I want you to rewire your brain to see the opportunity and the force that is way above and more powerful than all of those limiting societal tactics, because they truly are just tactics. Whether you've been told or you've experienced men suppressing and feeling fear and anger when they see you showing up as a person that they did not believe you could be, whether it's in a boardroom, whether it's leading a company, or any capacity they feel or they have been embedded to believe that you simply can't. There is going to be anger, retaliation, and just negative energy. But I want you to also understand that men have been conditioned to help women, and I want you to leverage that. If you lead through your femininity in your business and your entrepreneurship journey, you will get that version of that man. You see so many women retaliating with anger to that man's insecurity or inability to see you or to have foresee you in that light. And I want you to take a step back and just hold the mirror to them. You say, hey Nick, I overheard you talking to Amanda about how I didn't bring that point up during my presentation, and oh my God, I think that's fantastic. I think we should really bring this up in the next meeting. This is a true opportunity factor. And watch that man be the biggest supporter you have ever had. He is going to go in rooms with you and try to build with you. He is going to show up for you. He is going to recommend you. And this is how you can shift the mentality of someone who has truly have had a negative connotation either fed through society or hypermasculinity or the culture or their parents, become something lighter and better. Do not fight fire with fire. Do not play a man's game. Play a woman's set of cards. Being a mother at the end of it all. I personally know that I want to create a life where I can nurture and guide the next generation. I do want to become a mother and understand that you owe it to them to pursue yourself fully. I owe it to my kids to pursue the depths of me entirely, to show up for myself devotedly without an excuse, because that is what I want, and that is the version of myself that I want to be, the mother of my kids. I want you to embrace your purpose, and I'm getting emotional. Truly become the woman that you're meant to be. Becoming a mother should not be the start of your life, nor it need to be the end, but it definitely needs to be met after you've met yourself. And so many people have it backwards, where it's like, I don't have the money, I don't have the person, I don't have the standing. I need you to have yourself first. I need you to have yourself figured out, that you've ventured yourself, that you explored yourself, that you have gifted yourself in order to show up for that little person and be an example for them in the best way possible. And that best way is you being aligned with yourself. That's the only way you're going to lead by example. You want to ultimately want that little person to be aligned with whatever vocation they have in their heart. So lead with that example. Give to yourself. Choose yourself. Choose the little girl inside you before you choose the little girl or the little boy you will procreate. You owe it to yourself to truly embody and pursue yourself fully and chase your dreams and embrace your purpose and become the woman that you're meant to be, and understand that the balance will come afterwards. When you're aligned with your femininity, you will know the decisions and the priority that take place that day, and trust that in the microscopic view of things, you are going to be satisfied in how you show up in all facets of your life. Because being a woman is being all-encompassing. So be all-encompassing of yourself, your relationships, your partnerships, and your family and your future kids, and start showing up for yourself now. Honor your own path and teach them to uphold the same for themselves, to live boldly, to love deeply, and to never shrink themselves for the comforts of other or the validation of society and culture at the time, whatever fold it might look like. Because trust that fold will probably be different than the one you're experiencing right now as well.